establishing and maintaining an artificially low exchange rate, such that it's now created this disparity. Just as the good doctor said, I don't know if it's exactly round tripping. You are connected. You pull $100 $1 million out, and you make a killing. First of all, this keeping the artificially low exchange rate. Explain the reasoning behind that, such that we have this what is referred to as parallel markets.
Well, I think the situation is more precarious than what an analyst would like to express in the studio.
Lest it be seen as a prophet of doom.
Yes, the situation is quite precarious. You don't want to stand there as if you are raising alarm. It seems the economy is heading towards Zimbabwe, or is heading towards a very dangerous bend. We've never had it this bad, that you have that large gap between the two markets. And the reality is, number one, government must wake up to the reality that there is they said it's just 3% of the foreign exchange markets. Well, it seems to be the controlling factor in pricing, leading to high level of inflation. When you have huge gaps between the two markets, there is just natural inclination is to move from A to speculate and make money in B. Yeah. And it's so seamless.
Is it
you
simple
don't even see government talking about it. You don't even seem to see the regulators saying, if you do this, these are the penalties, as we used to have. Under Obasanjo, he made a scapegoat of two banks. I won't mention the names of those banks on here. Immediately, he moved against those things.
I don't know why you people do this kind of thing. Why you choose not to mention the name of this thing?
We are talking about brands that we don't have any intention of damaging, really.
But they did it.
But the moment CBN governor, Sanusi, the first Sanusi, moved against some banks, made scapegoat of them, all of them just adjusted. Everybody knew it would not be business as usual. Okay. But we are in a terrain whereby the suspicion is that government is pretending to be unaware of the havoc the huge gap between the two markets are causing. And government now pretend as if my focus is on the regulated markets. Dollar is just 420. Who are the people accessing the regulated markets? You are traveling abroad. You are entitled to BTA. These are elitist consumptions. These are elitist items. What about those who don't have the privilege of doing that, of accessing those markets? Their basic needs, clothing, food, housing, you've practically shut them out of that benefit.
Exactly.
So you can't continue to create an economy that is just to take care of just a tiny minority of the population. You need to open it up. You need to now look at how do we get this benefit, if at all it must exist. Left to many analysts who say, no, the gap is under any circumstance shouldn't be like this. Create a market where you have 2-3% divergence between the two markets, where there is little or no room for round tripping. And if you do that, you discover that virtually every remittance coming into the country, whether from diaspora, from foreign direct investment, foreign portfolio investment, will begin to settle into a common pool.
Indeed.
That will boost the reserves, that will boost the value of the naira.
Let me ask Dr. Yusuf, why is such a quote-unquote simplistic route not taken? Why is government keeping this wide disparity between the two rates?
Well, some of these things are difficult to explain because this is not rocket science, and economics is a science, even though it's a social science, which implies that you can easily predict outcomes when you take a particular policy step. But for some strange reasons, and it's really very strange, that the CBN had continued to remain very rigid on this policy. So I cannot say that it's out of ignorance, because I know that they are very brilliant economists at the CBN. They have a very robust research department, and they have respected economists. It is also possible that it's a political economy issue. Political economy in the sense that there are people who are benefiting from this particular policy condition. who don't want to let go. And if that is the situation, then that is a very big tragedy.
Because that will question the
Because you can
sincerity
see
of
it-
leadership. That
Yes,
would
we can
question
see
the sincerity of leadership.
what the nation is suffering as a result of this policy failure, as it were. So it's either a question of self-interest. That is what I think. Some people are benefiting from it, and they don't want to, because the lapses, the challenges are so obvious. They are so obvious.
You know, and you wouldn't think it.
And yet nobody is talking about it, even at the MPC meeting.
Okay.
I've not heard, even from their MPC communique, no reference is made to this terribly wide gap between the official window and the parallel market window.
Okay. Dr. Yusuf, one moment, please.
Recognize the parallel market.
I beg your pardon.